Good morning here at Precision Transmissions. What we got this morning is a 4L60E out of a 2000 Trans Am. We're going to be doing a lot of teardowns for customers and stuff that don't live here or want to just see what their unit looks like when we pull them out and tear them down. So we're going to do a video on this one here. This is a 4L60E 2000 Trans Am. We got the bell housing and bolted here. What they did is they put a stall converter in it behind the stock Trans Am, and they have a built-up motor, and it just took the tranny out. So it's kind of not a good idea to do that. You want to do both of them at the same time with the stall converter, you know, build the tranny up too. We have our lockup O-ring. The rear seal for the drive shaft. We have our tail housing bushing. It's wore out down to the brass already. We have our speed sensor. That goes in here. Which goes up against the reluctor wheel. And this is your speed gear here. We have our overdrive servo piston. Now this does have a Corvette servo in it already. This is your Corvette servo. This is your standard servo. It already does have a Corvette servo in it. You can tell it's got a lot of metal. It's just, it'd be a pretty paint color. Yeah, it would be. Now this does have a shallow pan. We're gonna go back with a deep pan. We can go with a 65 or 70 pan and a deep filter back in here, and it'll still fit and work fine.
Why would we put a deep pan on something like that?
It's just going to give it a couple more extra quarts of fluid. Anytime you get more fluid in something, it's always a lot better. Now this is your PWM solenoid for lockup, and this is your 4-3 or 3-2 kickdown solenoid. Your pressure manifold switch. This tells the computer when the tranny made the shift. And these here are your shift solenoids. And this is your pressure control solenoid. Now here is your 1-2 accumulator that softens your shift up in second gear. And then the one in the case is your 3-4.
Let's down through here. I'll take this apart and kind of give you an idea. Get out your way. Sorry guys, trying to get the camera situated in my hand a little better and get my fingers out of the way.
Now this tranny here has one pressure control solenoid that controls all the shifting engagements and stuff like that the computer controls. Now all the 6 speeds and the 7 speeds, 8 speeds, 9 speeds, 10 speeds, they all went to having a solenoid controls the pressure and controls the shift too. Instead of having 2, they're doing 1. Now, when you build this tranny back or anything like that, you want to make sure that these 3 bolts right here have an 8mm head, a 10mm head. If you look here, they're just a little bit longer. Well, if you put this longer bolt right here in here, it'll go through the case and rub on the gear train on the inside of the tranny. So you want to make sure you put these 3 longer bolts right here in this little L shape. Now here's that pillow switch I was talking about. Looks like I could clean these off a little bit better. Let me. Now you can get an idea what this looks like. These are little switches right here that fluid pushes on. You can feel it click right there. And when it makes a shift, it pushes on this right here and tells the computer that it made that shift. So. This is the whole valve body, a lot of valves and stuff like that in here. This is basically the Vane. And we have all these different check balls in here. A lot of people see these check balls and stuff. They all do different things. This one here in the trough right here is one of the most critical. You can leave all these out, but this one right here, this keeps it from going in reverse and drive when you move the shifter. If you put in drive, it keeps reverse from coming on. If you put it in reverse, it keeps drive from coming on. So you can leave all these other check balls come out of this tranny, and it would shift a lot firmer and stuff like that. But if you left that one out, it wouldn't even back off the lift. There's this accumulator that we're talking about. So when the band comes on for second gear, fluid gets behind this piston and pushes on it. And you can change these springs and shorten the piston travel by putting shims and stuff in here. But this is a plastic piston right here. It's bad about wearing right here where the pin is. And we go back with an aluminum piston that has a long shank on it that stabilizes that piston when it goes up and down that bore. You always want to get rid of these plastic ones. They crack, they wear really fast. So. Now, to identify the gaskets, when you get a kit, an overhaul kit on this tranny, it'll come with 2 sets of gaskets. It'll come with a round hole and a square hole, round hole and a square hole. See, square, round. So if you get a gasket that has a round and a round, it does not go on this plate. They do have to be round and square, and that's how you can identify them real simple. So, now here's the 3/4 accumulator piston right here. Get it out of here. Some will come with a spring, some no spring. We block this off, add double pistons in here. That way it doesn't move at all. We do it on every unit that we build. We just get rid of that completely. This is actually your park mechanism here. When you move this to put it in park, it moves this lever here and locks it in. Where the drive shaft right here can't turn. Really simple operation. We've had them fail and lock them in park where you go to move the vehicle, it won't move. All these bolts have an O-ring on them. You want to replace that O-ring. Even though we replaced the O-ring, we'll put a little bit of sealant around this bolt hole, and that way we know it doesn't leak at all, because there is a lot of pressure behind this pump right here.
Double insurance.
Yeah, it just keeps you. Of course, you get the stubborn ones that don't want to come out.
Band anchor will get stuck. There it goes.
This your band anchor right here. You got to get it out. You can't get that thing out of there. And you can see where it goes in the case right here. That way that band can. Then you have your servo that comes in on the side here and pushes on it like that. And applies the band around this drum. This is your second and fourth gear band. It did have a wide band in it actually. There's another used one here, but it does have a wide band in it. So the tranny has been into before because it didn't come with a wide band from the factory. So you want to look from here to here, because this is a filter side and your pressure side. You want to make sure you have no wear in here. Looks really smooth. And then you have your paddles, your 13 vane pump. Let's see what that looks like. This is your guide, keeps it centered. It does have a seal retainer that keeps the seal in. We glue that in, actually glue the seal in and the retainer. That way we know it doesn't come out.
Another double insurance.
Yeah. Now I can't tell. This looks like it has a stock boost valve in it. When we go back, we'll go back with a Transgo 500 boost valve to raise the pressure and stuff at full throttle. Just works so much better. You want to look for bushing wear in here. And here, the bushings we put in is twice as wide. It'll fill up this whole gap right here to support the shaft and the converter a lot better. In the same way back here, the new bushing that we put in here is a lot wider, because this tranny here has a B85 converter, which is a lot heavier. So that's why they do that. Now this is your overdrive and your second gear drum, but they also call it a reverse drum because you have reverse clutches in here. You never want to tighten this clutch pack up because this clutch pack is never used going down the road. So a lot of people, I get them in here and they put extra shims in there, tighten them up and all that type of stuff. You never want to do that because you can burn it up just by getting it too tight. So this is interesting here. Instead of having a bleed check ball in here to plug that hole off when it applies the clutch, this wave plate flattens out and plugs that off right here. Well, the earlier models have a check ball right here that plugs off. The pressure hits it and plugs it off. Or it'll have it on this side of the drum sticking out right here. So you want to look for wear here. That reverse drum will always, a lot of times, cut this up right through here a lot. So you want to look for that. Now this is your 3/4 clutch that we always go back with the Z-Pack and put a 14 clutch third gear in.
This is one reason why you don't leave out the load springs.
Yes, definitely. Now this tranny definitely has been into before, and this is another reason why it failed. We see this a lot because a lot of people think they can leave these load springs out and it makes the tranny shift firmer. Well, it feels like it shifts firmer, but it's actually a clutch and band bind up problem. So whoever leaves these out, you better watch my videos and start leaving them in, because you're causing problems. This clutch here is the clutch that moves the vehicle forward. This is your engine brake clutch, and you pull it down from overdrive to third to second. This clutch comes on right here and gives you the engine brake sensation that you feel. These two little ones right here. This should move the vehicle forward. But on this 3/4 clutch, they left the load springs out. See? And let me get one and show you. These load springs set down in this drum right down through here. I wish I would have done it a little bit different to show you, but they set down in here like this to hold, to slow this clutch from coming on and give this band time to come off. See, and if this band comes on too fast and this is on and this clutch comes on, you get a bang. Well, everybody thinks it's a good shift. It's not. It's actually 2 gears on at one time for just a millisecond. So leave these in, hold this clutch off for just a little bit and give this band time to come off, and let this clutch come on that way. So now this is your forward planet right here. It's a 4-pinion. They make a 5-pinion, 6-pinion, stuff like that. They make a Sonnax, a really nice one. And they also make a roller bearing hub, which when we build this tranny back, this is the roller bearing hub style. Instead of running a thrust washer like this, we'll put this roller bearing in here. When they added tow haul to the Suburbans and stuff like that, that's what they did. They added this bearing and added the tow haul button. So there's a lot of load on this washer in 4th gear. So that's why you really can't tow in 4th gear on these things very much, because it just wipes this washer out. Now, I got an episode right here I want to show you. This is a 5-pinion planet right here. These comes out in the Cadillac Escalades, SS Trailblazers and stuff like that. But this is what happens to them when you put a drag radial on them or a slick or something like that. You just overpower it. I mean, you just twist the shaft plumb off. That's why they sell billet shafts and stuff for these things. So, but that is what a 5-pinion planet looks like. Now we go back with a hardened shell here. We don't go back with the big, heavy, beefy one. We go back with a, it's been treated here on the end where it doesn't break off. These are bad about stripping, and what they do is they go in there and harden it. But they keep the weight down. And that's the main thing on these. You want to keep the weight down on the shell. This is what you can kind of see what happens to it. So,
ouch.
They do sell billet shafts and stuff to keep that from happening, but they're very expensive. And here's a 4-pinion planet here in the back, your low reverse planet. They do make a 5, a 6-pinion to beef them up. The Cadillac Escalade, stuff like that come with 5. And this here's your low reverse clutch. This clutch comes on when you put it in reverse, along with your reverse clutch in your drum to back up. And then this clutch also comes on in manual low, but when you shift it to 2nd gear, this clutch comes off. So this is a 1-way sprag. Spins this way, locks this way. It does have the wide sprag in it. Make a narrow and wide. So It looks like a little bit of bad building, not knowing really what to do. Anybody can take and put this back together, but you got to be able to know how to do it and do it the right way. I mean, there's so much to these things, and all the clearances and stuff just really have to be right. So if you need it done, come by and see us. We do them really right. Also, we did get our shirts in.
That is a nice shirt you got there.
There you go in the back. So if you'd like to get one of them or something, holler at us, Precision Transmissions. So if you need a tranny done, give us a holler too. We do high horsepower, no horsepower, just everything. So give us a holler. Have a good day.